Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Reborn Dolls with Karen. I've got the camera blocked a little bit, Gabriel's in the way. We're back with Gabriel, he looks like this now. He's coming right along and we're going to do a little bit of a, oh geez, I don't have a, well, these kits are sealed but they're not baked, so they look like a blank kit. So I'm just going to show you Cutie. Here's Cutie up next to Gabriel. And you can see he's come a long way. His color is much different from hers or his. I don't know if Cutie's a boy or a girl. And on the listing, they have this kit made as a boy and a girl. So, and Cutie doesn't give away any clues. So I don't know. But he hasn't come as long as, let's say, Michael here. Michael is finished except hair. So see the difference? He's about halfway, and so we're going to continue to work on him until he looks really good. And it won't be that much longer. His hands look good. His nails are looking great. His creases are still showing. His feet also look good. His nails are looking good. His little creases are showing. He's looking really good, I think. So we're going to move on to our next color. I'm going to move this phone out of my way. I don't have much room on the table because, like I said, I sealed some dolls. They're drying a little bit before I can bake them. So they're taking up a lot of my table and my drying rack. So anyway, we're going to work on Gabriel over here on this side of the table and hopefully not clash with what's on that side of the table. Our next color is called Warm Blush. It's a pre-mixed color as well. And we're going to put 2 coats of that on him as well, just like we did the first color. So I'm going to use my sponge. I've been using a good while here on several dolls. You can use your sponges over and over until they're just too dirty, and you're going to know when they're too dirty. You're just going to say, hey, that's not doing a good job anymore, I'm going to get a new one. But until that point, save your money and use them over. Every penny counts when you're making dolls. Everything costs money. Get some paint here on this sponge, and we're going to just paint him the same way we did with the other color, except it's just a different color. So we're going to paint his face. He's coming right along with his face shaping back up too. I restuffed him so it helped a little bit. He's got a little dot of something on his forehead, which is probably a little bit of paint I didn't dab enough. And I guess we're going to have to live with it because I can't get it off. Anyway, we're going to paint over his eyes, his nose, down in all the crevices around his nose, up inside of his nose. We want to make sure we get some up inside of that nose. We're going to paint his mouth and inside his mouth and under his chin. We're going to also paint his ears, around his ears, under his ears, on this side as well, ears. All around them. Oops, got something on his head. I probably let him touch the jar. And now we're going to paint this back part a little bit, and now we're ready for our sponge. And we're going to do the same thing with our sponge that we did the last time. We're going to sponge over his face, even where we put the paint on with the brush, because we want to get this other effect. We don't want that brush effect. We want to get the sponge effect. So the brush was just a precautionary measure for little spots we couldn't reach. Whoops, and now I'm knocking my brush all around. Okay, so we're going to take this dense sponge and we're going to pounce him a little bit first. I changed my dense sponge because it was just, the one I had was just super, super orangey looking. And even though it was dry, I just wanted a new one. Every now and then, about, I'd say 4 to 6 dolls, you're probably going to want to change your sponges, depending on, how dark your paint is, how much paint you put on your dolls, how much excess is on them when you're pouncing them. A lot of factors play into that. You could go as much as 8 dolls or 3 dolls. I don't know. I just know that you're going to be able to tell when you need a new one. It's just not going to be doing a good job for you anymore. And I just eyeball the sponge and I go, yeah, I want another one. but I use them over and over until that point. Okay, now we're going to go, this one's very dry, even though it looks dirty. It's going to soak up a lot of paint because it's very, very dry. And we're just going to get the rest of the excess off that the other sponge didn't get it all off. So we want him to be dry and very clean and no rashy looking stuff on it before we apply the second layer. We want to make sure we pounce around in his ears real good and behind his ears and in all these crevices on his face. If there's any little crevices you can't seem to get with your sponge, you can always go to your trusty little magic brush. I call this my magic brush because it just works like magic to me. I love it. Anyway, I'm going to have to put him down over here, I guess. It's going to be a little bit in the view screen because I don't have any room over here. Okay, now we're going to move to his limbs and we're going to start painting them. We just paint over the top of everything we've already painted. It's perfectly fine. Just paint right over the top of it. Nails and everything. Because we want to make sure the whole doll is covered with this color. And we don't want it to, I don't re-sponge the hands. It's just too hard to sponge the hands and feet. So I just do the brush and just hope for the best. It's just that small, small area. And anyway, we want every part of the doll to be colored with every color. It makes the layers form a depth in the skin tone to keep it from just looking like one flat color. Because if we didn't need depth, we could just formulate a color that was the finished color of the doll that we liked. And then we could just put that color on the doll a couple times and we'd have a painted doll. But we can't do it that way because it doesn't give us our depth that we want. The depth gives you more reality, realism, or whatever you want to call it. In your doll, it looks a lot more like a baby than it does a plastic doll. And if you just want to make some plastic dolls, yeah, just get you one flat color that looks like the finished product on a doll and just paint it. Blush it a little at the end and you're done. But by putting our layers on, we're actually making it a little more real looking. If you think you're getting a lot of wet in your sponge, just pounce it on your table like that, and on your paper towel, that is, not on your bare table. Some people actually paint with a bare table. They don't put anything down. And other people put just paper towels, and other people put just puppy pads. But I put puppy pads underneath, and then I put paper towels on top. It saves a lot of puppy pads. Puppy pads are more expensive than paper towels. And yeah, you could say, well, why not just use paper towels then? You just have to use so many. And if you have that oops where you spill it all over the place, the paper towels are not going to catch it. I mean, I've turned over these jars before or splashed them or whatever, and you need that puppy pad to catch that. But when you're just making incidental marks like I'm making right here on this, just little marks here and there, you don't really want to use up a whole puppy pad and then have to replace it like every single day. It would just be so costly. I have a dog and she uses puppy pads instead of going outside because she's so tiny. I don't let her go outside. And anyway, I know from that how much puppy pads cost to use every single day. And when you're already using them for your dog, it's exceptionally expensive to use them also on your table. So I put one puppy pad down, and then I put paper towels on top of it. And then when I need to change my paper towels, well, I just change them. I put a thin coating of paper towels on top for little incidental marks. And then you can change that however often you need to. Sometimes I change it on the daily, but most of the time I'm just too lazy to do that even. I just leave it until it's dirty. And it's almost always dirty, but I still leave it. It dries. And then, yeah, you have some colors on it, but it still works. And I don't know. I like to think I'm just frugal, but I think I'm really stingy. I just don't want to spend the money to keep my table as clean as some of those. I mean, I'm not faulting anybody for keeping a clean table, but I've watched other artists doing their work, and their table is pristinely clean. I don't know how they keep it that clean. And unless they change every time they turn off the camera, I just don't see how they do it. It just looks too clean. And I'm going, okay, I know she spilled some paint on the last video. She must have changed when she stopped the camera to a new everything, because it's just pristinely clean all the time. And I don't know, maybe I should be that way too. I was thinking, they also manicure their nails, but they're showing real big. I'm not putting my nails that close to the screen. They are stained with paint, I can tell you that right now. It takes a scrub brush and some scrubbing to get it off the back of your nails. No kind of a toothpick or a nail file or anything's going to dig it out. It just won't. It colors your nails. And after a few times, yeah, you'll get it out the first time and the second time and maybe even the 10th time. But if you're constantly making dolls and washing your hands, you're not getting it all out. You might think you are, but you're not. And then all of a sudden your nails just look like, I don't know, zombie nails. And you're going, what happened to my nails? Why can't I get this off? It takes a long soak, like in the bathtub, or a scrub brush. And even when you soak them, it looks a little bit cleaner than it did. But as soon as you start doing anything, they get back dark again. It's weird. It's just, the paint just gets under your nails, and you look like you don't clean your fingernails. And then when you clean them, the backs of your nails are still stained. Some people wear gloves, and I don't blame them for doing it, but I just cannot work with gloves on. I can't grip the doll good enough, and they're just cumbersome. They just are in my way. I tried to do it. I have some gloves, but no can do. I'll just have to have dirty fingernails. And I scrub them on the daily, but like I said, they come back to dirty. It's just one of those things. Now, if you was to put your hands in something like bleach, which I don't recommend doing that, you would get it off. It might actually, bleach out the color that's under the bottom. What I usually do is just clip off my nails, because they just get so stained up after a while that you just can't get it off. And so I just keep my nails really, really short most of the time. Sometimes I forget to clip them, and then all of a sudden I'm going, I just need to clip my nails again. This is getting ridiculous. But as artists, it's the price we pay to do our art. Maybe if I washed my hands another 10 times a day, I could keep them clean, but I highly recommend washing your hands often, because, well, paint gets on your hands too. And don't wear any nice clothes, because you'll ruin them. The other day, I think it was yesterday, I was wearing a sweatshirt. It was cold. In the mornings, it's really cold in here, because we turn it down really low at night, and then in the morning, it's freezing in here. So I put on a sweatshirt. Well, this was a sweatshirt I probably should not have worn, because, well, it didn't have any paint on it yet. And what did I do? I dropped the paintbrush, and it just hit my shirt and made a big swash of paint down it. And it's not coming out. I can show you rags that I've used before in the past, and I continue to use them because, stains are not going to come out of them. And they still work perfectly fine. They're not going to put any paint back on your doll. It won't come out. It won't even wash out. It won't even bleach out. I've bleached them even trying to get it out. And so, you don't have to worry about that, oh, there's red on that rag, so I better not use it on my doll. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, he is painted one whole time. Now I'm going to paint him again, because I just want a deeper color. He's coming right along. He's starting to look really good. He's going to look a lot better with eyes, I promise. They just look blank without their eyes. But once his eyes get in, he's going to look much more like a baby. Don't forget, every time you put your paintbrush in your paint, you've got to mix that paint. Otherwise, you're getting either very diluted paint or very thick paint. One or the other. And I just have it all over my hands. See, this is what I'm talking about. You touch anything that has paint on it, and you just get it all over your hands. He is slightly still a little bit wet. I'm going to take this sponge and sponge him a little more. When they look shiny or slightly wet, they are still wet. And sometimes I get out my heat gun and I dry them off a little bit more, but this will dry him enough. He's not that wet. There, that's good. Okay, now we're going to put this coat on. We're going to do the same thing we did on the first coat. We're just going to smear it all over him and get it on him. Oh, this paintbrush has got too much paint in it. It's starting to run, which is something you don't want to do, is have your paint run. It'll make a drip mark, like. You know, I know you've probably sprayed something that was really, really dirty with some spray cleaner, and it ran down, and where it ran, it got cleaner than where it didn't run because it ran down. And I don't know. The same thing opposite in reverse happens to your doll. If the paint runs, it gets darker there. So we don't want it to run. If you see it running, immediately dab it off. But it ran into his eye socket, which won't matter because, well, it won't show. And now we're going to just dab him off again like we did the first time. I think today's Tuesday. I'm not sure. I cannot keep up with the days. They are going by so fast. It seems like you just get up in the morning and all of a sudden it's nighttime. It just happens that fast. At least it seems like it does. And then you're going to bed and you're going, well, that's another day down the drain. It just went by so fast. And earlier today I was commenting on how slow it seemed like the day was going by. I was thinking it was much later in the day and it was only noon. And now it's like 4 o'clock. And I don't know. It just seems we're going to finish this baby today, though. We might not go to bed till we're finished with this baby. He doesn't like that much, and it just amounts to me wanting to come back and do it the next step. What I usually do is I want to download the video first, but because when you're trying to record a video on the same device you're downloading a video, you get a lot of errors in your download, and then you have to start it over. There, he looks really good. Of course, he's not going to be this dark because everything gets lighter when you bake, but he's looking real good, I think. I'm going to put him down and we're going to work on his arms and legs a little more. But I have got to wipe my hands off again. They're just slippery with paint, if you can believe that. There we go. Oh, now, here we go. So you can tell the arm is really dry. And one of the ways you can tell is it doesn't look shiny anywhere on the arm. And another way is by feeling of it. It just feels very powdery, like something might come off in your hand, but nothing ever does. Unless you rub hard, it might then. But you can touch it and stuff. It just feels like, you know, real powdery paint because the paint thinner has already evaporated off of the doll and left behind the paint. And that's how it works. You have to thin the paint to a consistency that you can spread it around on your doll. And then, well, you don't need the paint thinner anymore then. It's already thinned out and spread around on the doll. And so it evaporates and you have only paint left. And after you bake it, it's an oily paint, really. It's not like water-based paint, which is acrylic, I think. This is oily. When you first open it up, there's a seal on the top of the jar. And when you pull that seal off, you can usually see a little bit of oil floating on top. So you have to take a toothpick or something and mix it up real good and spread that oil back around in that paint because it's separated a little. It's not real bad. It doesn't separate real bad. You don't have just a big skim of oil on top. It's just a little bit. But the oil makes it smoother and softer, I guess. And that's why we put the Exodus oil in it too. It's because we want to have that extra smoothness in our paint. We want it to flow over the doll really, really well and be super smooth and super pretty. And that's what the Exodus oil helps us do. It's not necessary. You don't have to do it. But I like to do it. I like to have that extra little something to my dolls. It's just an expense that is worth it to me. Not every expense is worth it though. Some of them are just too costly to do. I used to put scent wafers in my dolls, but here's the thing about that. You're going to spend 99 cents on a scent wafer unless they're on sale, and you just buy a bunch when they're not on sale. When they're on sale. And then they're going to be 69 cents probably. That's about what they put them on sale for. And the thing about it is you put it inside the doll, and at first it smells just like baby powder. It's such a nice little smell. But then, okay, if you don't sell your doll, let's go with a week, that smell starts to fade. And it's a car freshener is what it really is. It's one of those little disc car fresheners that you can get and put under your seat or something. And you know how fast they play out in your car. Well, they do it in the doll too. And then they start to smell kind of funny to me. They start to get this soury smell. I don't know. I don't like it. And so I don't put them in anymore because, you have the doll 2 or 3 weeks or a month before you sell it, and it doesn't even smell like a baby powder anymore. I guess you could open the doll up and put one in when it sells, but you're asking to spend a lot of money on zip ties then to open every doll up. I used to not put magnets in my doll until they sold because, well, magnets are expensive, and if the doll doesn't sell, it doesn't need a magnet, And so I didn't put them in. But then I just got tired of opening up all the dolls when they sold and having to pull out the stuffing out of the head, put a magnet in and restuff it and put the head back. I said, I'm just going to start putting the magnets in. So that's what I do now. I put the magnets in. And I quit using the E6000 to put the magnets in because, well, 2 problems. One, it takes forever for it to dry. You have to leave it overnight and to let it dry, because if you don't, it's going to slip. And that's the other one, it slips. The E6000 wants to run to the lowest point in the doll. It's just self-levels like that. And so if you put your doll down in any position, I don't even care if there's a magnet on the outside to try to hold that, the whole thing will slip down. And then they'll have the magnet in their chin, or if you turn the head upside down, it'll have a magnet up in its nose or something, and then you have to try to pull that out and fix it. So I use now super glue. It dries in 2 or 3 seconds, literally. It only takes about 2 drops, 2 tiny little drops on the magnet, and then it just holds it so well. And you can't even pull the magnet out. I've tried to take some of the magnets out because I was going to give it to a child or something, and they don't need a magnet, and I wanted to save the money, so I was going to take the magnets. I can't get them out. They're there. They're staying. And so it's permanent. It's so bonded with the vinyl, you think the vinyl's going to tear. You're pulling on it so hard. And I never could get it out. And I even tried to cut the glue, and I was afraid I was going to cut the vinyl when I was trying to cut the glue with like a box cutter or an X-Acto knife or something. It's too dangerous. I just said, forget it. I try to buy my magnets on sale anyway. I only get them from Bountiful Baby because I have tried other magnets from other companies, and they are not as strong. Walmart magnets are definitely too weak. They won't even catch the magnet on the outside. See, the magnet on the outside is attached to the pacifier, and then it has a piece of cloth over it so that the magnet is hard, it's metal, and you don't want it rubbing against the baby's lips, so you have to cover it with a piece of cloth. And then the magnet on the inside of the head has a piece of vinyl in front of it, for heaven's sakes. It needs to be super strong to attract that other magnet. And those magnets you get from some of those companies are not strong enough. I had some that my niece, when she was making dolls, she always tried to economize and get her magnets somewhere else. She'd go to Hobby Lobby, she'd go to all these other different places, and she'd get these magnets. And then the pacifiers, you just barely move the doll and the pacifier's falling off. It will attract, but it won't hold tight enough. And, you're just moving the doll over on the bed or something, just moving it up, and the pacifier falls off. You go, okay, that's not good. People want that pacifier to stay on there. They want to put that baby in a car seat or something, or carry it around, and they want that pacifier to stay on there. And so that's why I use the stronger ones. And Bountiful Baby has really strong ones, and they work really well. And I've had no problems with them, so I'm not willing to get any other magnets now. And other companies sell some other sizes. Some of them are square, they're just really tiny. Some of them are real tiny. Now you do need a smaller one for your pacifier than you do inside the head. We put a big one inside the head. Bountiful Baby sells 2 sizes. One is the small one for the pacifier, and the other one is the large one for the inside of the head. And they hold super well. So keep that in mind when you're searching for magnets. Some things are worth the money you spend on them, and some things are not. And I had to learn that the hard way. That's why I don't recommend starter kits. They give you a lot of stuff in there that you frankly can get much cheaper at Walmart. And they're going to give you like 10 swabs, but they're going to charge you like $2 for them. You can buy a whole thing of swabs, like 100 or 200 or something, for $2 at Walmart. And then they're going to give you like 10 toothpicks too. You know how cheap toothpicks are? You get 500 for like a quarter. And you just don't want to pay for those things in a starter kit. It's just too much. And they give you a tiny little bag of polyfill and a tiny little thing of glass, and they're charging you an arm and a leg for that stuff. I guarantee it's way overpriced. And you can do much better on your own. Get your glass. I don't get my glass from Bountiful Baby. It's too expensive. Used to, it was a bad idea to get your glass at Harbor Freight because it was shards. Now they have little round pellets just like Bountiful Baby has. But you get 50 pounds of it for $69.99. And if you can drive to a Harbor Freight, you don't have to pay shipping or nothing. So, but I can't. So I order mine, and they deliver it, and I pay like, I think $8.99 for the ship, and that's really cheap for something that weighs that much, you know. I'm just trying to get some of that out of his eye socket so that when I put his eyes in, if they were to rub against that real hard, it wouldn't get any paint on his eyes. Okay, now I'm going to redo his lips and his nails. This will be the last time I redo his lips and nails. So this is the 4th time to redo his lips and nails. If you can't get it right in four coats, something ain't right. Because on the last go around, yes, I'm going to tip his nails. I'm going to tip his nails. So the only other color I have left to do is blush. And after I do the blush, I'm going to tip the nails. And so I don't want to be painting the nails and tipping the nails at the same time. It just doesn't work out well. Anyway, we're going to use this stuff again. And we're going to give him a little coat on his lips. His lips are looking very good, though. If we had to stop right there on his lips, it would be just fine. But I just want another little coat on there just to smooth them a little bit. It'll be a thinnish one. We don't want him too dark, but he's not in danger of having him too dark. I can tell you that right now. He just looks very good to me. And he's going to look fabulous when he's finished. And he's going in my collection. I feel like all the dolls are really in my collection. I have some shelves in my room that I put my dolls on. And my dolls that are in my collection all fit on one shelf. It's a long shelf, but they fit on it. And The rest of the dolls, the ones that are for sale, are grouped together on the other shelves. But since they, when they're not sold, they're just on your shelves in your room, and you can pretend they're your dolls. And then when one sells, well, it kind of upsets me a little bit, because you get used to looking at them in your room and stuff, and taking them down and wiping them off to clean them and stuff like that, and refixing their hair, and all the things you do to upkeep your dolls so that they still look brand new when you sell them. You get used to doing that. And so, long story short, when you sell one, then you got this blank space on your shelf, and I got to fill it with another doll. So I'm always making dolls, and so every now and then there's one that I'm not willing to give up, and this one's going to be Gabriel. I'm wanting to keep him. Now, if I get another Gabriel kit, if he goes on sale again, I will get another kit. And if I make him and he looks better than this one, then I'll put this one up for sale and keep the other one. It just depends. I usually end up selling a lot of my dolls for cheaper than my asking price, because I allow offers, and so people will send me offers, and sometimes I'll take them. It depends on the doll and how they look and all that, on what kind of an offer I would accept on that doll. Some of the dolls look a lot better than other dolls, and that's just part of the reborning process. You can't make every doll look, well, I guess you could if you spent an inordinate amount of time on each doll. You could strip them and redo them. I just don't do that. That's how his lips look now. That's how they're going to look at the end, except they're going to be a little slight bit lighter, because everything gets lighter when you bake. And the nails are pretty good already. See, I'm just going to get them a little bit darker. And then when he comes out, he'll be ready for his final color, which is going to be blush. I know we already did blush, but this blush goes all over the whole doll. And I'll probably only do one coat, because I've been a little disgruntled with the redness of my dolls. I showed you Michael just a minute ago, and he's a little red to me. I don't mind the doll being red, but after a certain point, it's just useless red to me. And he's a little going toward that. I mean, I'm not fully satisfied with his color, but I'm not stripping him, so we're going to keep him that color. And who knows, somebody's going to like him. There's people who like redder dolls than that. And there's people who like fair skin looking dolls. I have a lot of fair skin looking dolls too. My other Michael is more fair skinned. And I try to give them a different look, because like I said, you don't even know what somebody's going to like. And I try to give them different color of hair, and if they're getting eyes, I try to get them a different color of eyes than the previous one I made, especially if the other one's still up for sale. And Michael is, even though he's got like 35 watchers and probably 400 views, so he's a popular, there's interest, let's put it that way. Was he stuck to that? Seemed like that was stuck. Ooh, there goes my clothes are dry. That thing will buzz every couple minutes until I go cut it off. But I don't want to stop in the middle of the nails. I don't like to stop in the middle of something to go do something like that, so I'll probably just let it buzz. I want to get as much done on my doll as possible before I stop the video. And I don't like leaving the camera just going and leaving y'all hanging. I know I had to when the groceries came to the door, but if I can help it, I don't do it. Be very careful how you lay your pieces down on the table if you're going to lay them on the table. I've almost always got something else on my drying rack. Like I've got dolls with sealer on them on the drying rack. They can't lay on the table. They'll stick. So I'm laying my doll parts on the table. I don't recommend it, especially when you're a new artist. I used to always put my dolls on the drying rack. See what I mean? It's going to keep doing that until I stop it. But just as soon as I stop the video, I'll go stop it. I only have this one hand left to do, and then I'll be finished. Well, with this round, gooey. I don't like them to feel that gooey. That means they're a little too wet. Get some of that gooey off. We don't want rashy looking stuff on our doll. If you're touching your doll and it still feels gooey after that much time, you need to pounce it a little bit more. And we're all guilty sometimes of not pouncing it good enough. Believe me, everybody does it. They'll have a rashy look on their doll and they'll be going, oh, what do I do? Look at this. I want to say, well, there ain't nothing you can do unless you want to strip it. It's now a bargain, baby, or you're stripping. Some people will strip just because they don't like some little tiny, tiny aspect of their doll. They'll strip it and start over. Oh, that's annoying. I ain't stripping unless it's absolutely essential, because it's just so hard to strip. It's so time consuming and messy, and it can damage your vinyl if you're not real careful, and a lot of times it's not any better the second go around. Okay, now he's all painted, and I'm going to get him in the oven for his bake. And when we come back, I don't know, it might be 7 or 8 o'clock. A lot of times I get all wound up in there with my rooting, and I don't get back to the doll for a couple hours, and I don't guess it matters. Y'all won't know the difference. Oh, it quit. It finally quit. It's not going to buzz anymore. So, yeah, he'll get his bake, and by the time I come back, y'all will think it's been 10 seconds, but it might be 3 hours. Who knows? I don't know. But I might come right back after he's cool. I don't know, because I'm in the process of trying to root a doll in there in the bedroom, and I'm starting to make some headway. You know, when you first start rooting, it seems like you're making a lot of headway, and then you'll hit this part where it's sort of, the edges are real easy, and then you'll hit this part that's a little bit harder. And then as you get more toward the center, it starts to get easy again. And once you get to that point, you want to just push through. And but then that last little bit, you might just have a spot that big, and it seems like it takes forever to root it, because it just seems like you can't get any hair to go in that little spot. It's because you're tired, really. When you get tired, you don't root as well. And so lots of breaks is recommended when you're rooting a doll. And a lot of people spread it over days and days and days. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more heads up there, and he's going to be ready soon. So that'll be 6 heads that still need to go in the bedroom and be rooted. So I don't have days and days and days and days. I need to get these heads rooted. And I need to do it in a timely fashion. So I'll be rooting tonight, probably up until, I don't know, whatever time I decide to go to bed. I just get almost cross-eyed from doing it, and you just have to put it up and stop, because you just can't make yourself go any longer. That's what I usually do. I root until that point, and then I go, okay, I'm done for the night. So, and then I'll put it up and I'll get it out the next day. Anyway, we've got 3 exciting little babies coming up next, 2 of which I've never done before. One of them is Harper, and he has a torso. I hate those torsos. There's Angel, she's a girl, and Harper is a boy, and they almost look the same. Angel's a little fatter, but and then Cutie is such a big doll, supposed to be 21 inches, but the limbs are huge. I just don't know what I'm going to do with that doll. It better sell. I'll be putting that one on discount for sure if it don't sell, because I don't keep dolls that big, ever, because they're just too big. But anyway, I'm going to put him in the oven now, and I'm going to ask everybody to please like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.